The last signal, a journey beyond the stars, in the endless silence of the cosmos. Where ancient stars burn and die in forgotten corners, a single signal travels across the void, carrying a secret that could change humanity forever. This is the story of Commander Alex Carter, captain of the starship Eclipse 1, and his crew's encounter with a civilization beyond imagination. But it is also the story of humanity's choices and the cost of curiosity. The mission. The year is 2149. Earth has changed. After decades of conflict, nations finally united under a single banner, the Global Space Alliance. For the first time in history, humanity had one goal: to reach beyond the solar system, and to find if they were truly alone. Commander Alex Carter, a decorated pilot and strategist, was chosen to lead the Alliance's most daring mission yet, an expedition to investigate a strange signal detected from the direction of Proxima Centauri. The signal was unlike anything they had ever heard. It was faint, broken, repeating a phrase in an unknown alien language, but buried within the static, fragments of human speech echoed. Words that shouldn't have been there. Words no machine on Earth had generated. Some believed it was a trick, others feared it was a trap. But Carter and his crew were tasked with one thing: find the source. On board the starship Eclipse 1, the hum of engines fills the background, the sound of footsteps against metal floors, a steady beep of navigation systems. Carter stood at the central console, gazing at the holographic star map as his crew prepared for launch. Maya, the pilot, leaned casually against her chair, smirking. "Commander, remind me again why we're chasing ghost signals halfway across the galaxy? Couldn't we just send a drone?" Carter shot her a sharp look. "Because, Maya, sometimes the only way to get answers is to look someone in the eyes." From the far side of the control deck, Dr. Lyra, brilliant xenolinguist and scientist, spoke, her eyes scanning the data streams. "Except we're not sure if those eyes will even be human." Jonas, the engineer, chuckled nervously while tightening a panel on the console. "Great. So we're chasing alien spam mail. Maybe they're just trying to sell us interstellar car insurance." The crew laughed briefly, but behind their humor was unease. Everyone had heard the signal. It carried something haunting in its tone, something that felt alive. Pre-launch briefing. Carter stood tall as the comm system flickered to life. The voice of Admiral Corrin, head of the Global Space Alliance, echoed through the ship. "Commander Carter, the mission of Eclipse 1 is simple. Trace the origin of the signal, gather evidence, and return. You are not authorized to engage with any unknown civilizations unless absolutely necessary. Do you understand?" Carter replied firmly. "Understood, Admiral." "But what if the signal is a distress call?" The Admiral hesitated before answering. "Then God help us all, because whatever sent it has been waiting for centuries." The transmission cut. Silence filled the ship. Carter turned to his crew. "All right, team, strap in. Next stop, Proxima Centauri." Maya smirked, pulling down her visor. "Guess we'll find out if the neighborhood's friendly," Lyra whispered to herself, almost too quietly to hear. "Or if it wants us dead." Launch sequence. Engines roar. Systems engage. Countdown begins. 10, 9, 8. The Eclipse 1 shook as its engines ignited. 3, 2, 1. The ship surged forward, leaving Earth behind. Cities, oceans, and mountains shrank into a speck. Ahead stretched the infinite black sea of space. For humanity, it was the dawn of a new chapter. For the crew of Eclipse 1, it was the beginning of a nightmare. Narration bridge. As the ship accelerated beyond the solar system, Carter couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. The signal, the whispers in the static. Why did it sound almost human? And why did he dream of stars collapsing every time he closed his eyes? Into the unknown, the Eclipse 1 drifted silently through the void. Behind them, Earth had become nothing more than a memory, a pale blue dot fading into the darkness. Ahead, the stars burned like ancient lanterns, each one holding secrets humanity had never touched. At the heart of the ship, the crew prepared to activate the experimental warp drive, a technology so new, so unstable, that even its creators didn't fully understand how it worked. It was designed to fold space itself, cutting a journey of decades into days. But with that kind of power came danger. Warp drive preparation inside the engine bay. Jonas adjusted glowing coils of plasma reactors. Sweat beaded on his forehead despite the cold air. Warp coils at 70% charge. Plasma stabilizers holding. If this thing doesn't tear us apart, we'll be sipping coffee at Proxima in no time. Carter stood at the railing, watching carefully. Let's hope your optimism isn't misplaced. Jonas. Lyra studied her monitor, her voice tense. I've analyzed the signal again. The closer we get to Proxima, the stronger it becomes. It's almost like it knows we're coming. Maya snorted from the pilot's chair. Creepy. What's next? A welcome mat floating in space. Lyra didn't smile. No, more like bait. Carter's jaw tightened. He didn't want to admit it, but she wasn't wrong. Entering warp, the ship's lights dimmed as power rerouted to the drive. A deep vibration rattled the hull. The stars outside stretched into long, glowing lines as space itself bent. Maya's voice echoed through the deck, engaging warp in 3, 2, 1. Reality twisted. The crew felt it instantly, like their bodies had been pulled apart and stitched back together in the blink of an eye. Time slowed, stretched, and then snapped back. Jonas gripped his console. Systems fluctuating. Hull integrity at 95%, 92. Lyra's eyes widened. I'm detecting distortions. Not mechanical. Something else. Carter barked. Explain. Voices, she whispered. I can hear. Voices. The whispers. The ship trembled as echoes filled the comm system, faint, overlapping whispers. Not in any known language. Not static. Not random. Maya ripped off her headset. Tell me you all heard that. Jonas swallowed hard. I heard it. Like someone whispering inside my skull. Carter's voice was sharp. Shut it down. Now. Maya slammed the controls, and the warp drive disengaged with a violent shudder. The stars snapped back into focus. Silence returned, but the whispers lingered in the back of their minds. Narration bridge for the first time. The crew realized the truth. The signal wasn't just a call, it was a doorway, and they had already stepped through. Aftermath in the mess hall. Hours later, the crew gathered in the ship's small mess hall. The mood was tense. Jonas sipped a protein drink with trembling hands. We all heard it. Don't try to tell me we didn't. It was in my head, like someone was trying to talk to me. Lyra nodded slowly. Not someone, something. I think the signal is more than a broadcast. It's alive, adaptive. It reacts to us. Maya shook her head. So what? We're dealing with a haunted radio station now? Carter's voice was firm, commanding. Enough. Whatever it is, we'll handle it. We stick to the mission. We trace the signal, gather evidence, and get home. No more speculation. But as he spoke, he couldn't ignore the pounding in his temples. The whispers hadn't left him. They repeated a phrase over and over. A warning, or a threat. First glimpse of Proxima days passed. The Eclipse One drifted closer to Proxima Centauri. Through the observation deck, the crew saw it, a crimson star, burning weakly against the black. Around it floated something unnatural, an enormous structure, orbiting the dying light like a spider on a web. It was unlike anything humanity had ever seen. Part mechanical, part organic. Its surface shifted, pulsed, as though it were alive. The signal surged in strength, flooding their systems with data. Jonas muttered under his breath, That's no satellite. That's something else. Lyra whispered, It's a construct. A vessel, or maybe a tomb. Carter clenched his fists. Whatever it is, it's where our answers are waiting. Prepare to dock. Narration bridged. The crew didn't know it yet, but by approaching the alien structure, they had already crossed the point of no return. The whispers were not just sounds. They were warnings. Warnings that humanity chose to ignore. And now, the sleepers would awaken. First encounter. The alien structure loomed before them, so massive that it blotted out the crimson light of Proxima. Its surface pulsed faintly, veins of glowing blue energy running across its metallic organic skin. The Eclipse One crept closer. The crew stared in silence, each of them holding their breath, as if afraid the thing might notice their presence. Approach. Maya's voice broke the silence. Engines steady, hull pressure normal. But there's no docking bay, no visible ports. How do we even get inside that thing? Jonas squinted at his console, his fingers dancing across the controls. Wait, I'm reading an energy fluctuation. There, see that section? It's like a door. It's opening before their eyes. A section of the alien structure shifted, twisting and peeling back like petals of a flower. A corridor of light extended outward, inviting them in. Lyra's voice was almost a whisper. It knows we're here. Carter straightened, his tone sharp. Pilot, take us in. Slow and steady. Entering the structure, the ship glided forward, swallowed by the corridor of shimmering light. Inside, the structure felt alive. Walls pulsed like breathing lungs. Strange glyphs glowed faintly, symbols that seemed to rearrange themselves when looked at directly. Jonas muttered, "This place gives me the creeps. It's like we're inside some giant organism." Lyra studied the glyphs intently. They're not just decorations. They're a language, a warning. Carter glanced at her. "You can read that." "Not exactly, but some of the symbols repeat. This one, here," she pointed to a glowing spiral. "It keeps appearing alongside others. I think it means danger." Jonas chuckled nervously. "Great. The alien welcome mat literally says danger. Fantastic." The drone awakens. The corridor ended in a vast chamber, larger than any cathedral on Earth. Towers of crystalline machinery stretched toward the ceiling, pulsing with light. As they stepped out of the ship in their suits, a low hum filled the chamber. Something moved. From the shadows, a shape descended, sleek, metallic, with too many limbs to count. Its body shimmered with shifting light. Two glowing eyes locked onto them. Maya whispered, "Oh, is that thing looking at us?" Before anyone could answer, the machine darted forward with impossible speed, circling them like a predator. Carter shouted, "Weapons ready. Defensive stance." Jonas raised a scanner, panic in his voice. "Wait, it's not just a drone. It's scanning us." The creature froze, hovering just inches from Carter's visor. A beam of light swept across him, then across each of the crew. Finally, it emitted a burst of sound, harsh, metallic, but patterned. Lyra gasped. "It's trying to speak." Deciphering the glyphs, the drone projected symbols into the air, holographic glyphs glowing in blue fire. Lyra scrambled to record them. "Give me time. I can translate this." The symbols rearranged into a phrase. Lyra's face drained of color. "It says, 'Do not awaken the sleepers.'" Jonas frowned. "Sleepers? What does that mean?" Before Lyra could answer, the chamber shook violently. Massive doors on the far wall slid open, revealing rows upon rows of crystalline pods, stretching into the distance. Inside each pod, something stirred. Panic and escape. The drone screeched, its eyes flaring red. Suddenly, dozens more emerged from the shadows, swarming around the chamber. Carter barked, "Back to the ship, now." The crew sprinted toward the docking ramp, alien drones closing in. One lunged at Jonas, claws scraping his suit, but Carter yanked him free. Maya fired a pulse weapon, the shot ricocheting harmlessly off the drone's body. They dove into the ship, the ramp ceiling behind them, engines full power. Carter roared. The Eclipse One blasted backward, tearing free from the chamber. Drones swarmed around them like hornets, slamming into the hull. Shields flickered under the assault. Jonas shouted, "We can't take much more of this." But then, just as suddenly as it began, the attack stopped. The drones froze in place, retreating back into the shadows. The alien structure fell silent once more. Narration bridged the crew, sat in stunned silence, their hearts pounding. They had seen the warning. They had seen the sleepers, and they had nearly been destroyed for trespassing. But something told Carter this was only the beginning. The sleepers. The alien structure floated silently against the red glow of Proxima Centauri. The Eclipse One hovered nearby, scarred from the attack but still intact. Inside, the crew tried to steady their nerves. They had seen things no human had ever witnessed before, machines that seemed alive, glyphs that carried warnings, and vast halls filled with crystalline pods. But the greatest question remained: what lay inside those pods? For whatever slept inside those pods was beginning to stir. After the escape, Carter stood at the command deck, staring at the alien construct through the viewport. His jaw was clenched, his hands gripping the railing until his knuckles turned white. Maya sat at the pilot's console, muttering, "We should leave, right now. Whatever's in there doesn't want us around." Jonas shook his head, pacing nervously. "Commander, I'm telling you, those pods, they were holding something, and if we don't figure out what Earth could be walking into a nightmare." Lyra's voice was calm, but resolute. "He's right. That phrase, the glyphs, the warning said, do not awaken the sleepers. That means whatever is in those chambers isn't dead. They're alive, preserved, waiting." Carter turned sharply toward her. Waiting for what? Her silence was answer enough. Decision point hours passed. The crew debated fiercely. Maya insisted they return home with the data they had already gathered. Jonas argued that the alien technology could advance humanity by centuries. Lyra warned that disturbing the sleepers could unleash something dangerous. Finally, Carter raised his hand for silence. "We didn't come all this way to turn back at the first sign of fear. If those things are alive, we need to understand them. We need to know what kind of galaxy we're stepping into. We go back. We awaken one." Maya's eyes widened. "Are you insane? You heard the warning. Do not awaken the sleepers." Carter's voice hardened. "And what happens when someone else finds this place? A scavenger? A corporation? If we don't learn the truth, someone else will land. They won't be as careful as us." Reluctantly, the crew agreed. The decision was made. Returned to the chamber, the Eclipse One re-entered the alien corridor, docking once more in the vast crystalline chamber. The drones did not stir this time. The structure remained silent, as though waiting. The crew moved cautiously toward the nearest pod. The pod glowed faintly, its surface shimmering like glass, though no human technology could have created it. Inside, a tall crystalline being floated in suspension. Its form was humanoid, but elongated, translucent, its body laced with veins of light. Jonas whispered, "God, it's beautiful." Lyra placed her hand gently against the pod. "They're not machines. They're not flesh. They're something in between." Carter gave the order, "Wake it." Awakening, Lyra activated her scanner, sending a surge of energy into the pod. At first, nothing happened. Then the being's eyes snapped open, glowing like twin stars. The pod dissolved into mist, releasing the figure. It stepped forward slowly, its crystalline body refracting the chamber's light into rainbows. The crew froze in awe and terror. The alien's voice was not sound, but thought, resonating directly inside their minds. "Who dares disturb the dream of the elite?" Carter steadied himself. "We are explorers, humans, from Earth. We mean no harm." The being tilted its head, studying them. "Humans. I have heard whispers of your kind. You play with powers you do not understand. The name Kelith, alien's form shimmered as it continued to speak in their minds. I am Kelith, last of the Guardians, my kin. They sleep, for the galaxy is not yet ready for our return. Lyra swallowed hard. Guardians of what? Kelith's glowing eyes burned brighter. Guardians of balance, of life itself. Long ago, we fought an enemy that devours stars. We imprisoned ourselves to contain the knowledge needed to stop it. Maya's voice shook. You mean, the signal we followed? It was you. Kelith shook its crystalline head. No, the signal was a warning. A beacon meant to keep others away. But you? You came anyway. And now, the danger has seen you. The crew exchanged worried glances. For the first time, the humans realized the gravity of their actions. The Elith were not just aliens. They were guardians. And by awakening Kelith, they may have alerted something far worse. Something that fed not on flesh, but on entire star systems. The truth revealed, the chamber glowed faintly as Kelith, the crystalline alien, towered over the crew. Its presence was overwhelming, like standing in the shadow of a star. For a moment, no one spoke. The silence pressed in on them, heavy with questions. Then Kelith's voice returned, not spoken, but flowing directly into their minds. You do not understand what you have done. By awakening me, you have torn open a wound in the galaxy. And now, it bleeds. Kelith's history. The alien raised an arm, and the chamber lit up with holographic visions. Stars, galaxies, worlds projected into the air around them. Kelith spoke, eons ago. Before your kind walked the earth, there existed a force we called the Void Swarm. They were not life, as you know it. They were hunger made flesh, a storm of blackness that devoured suns, consumed planets, and left only silence in their wake. The crew watched in horror as the vision showed an entire star system collapsing into darkness. Kelith continued, my people, the Elith, were guardians. We fought the swarm across the galaxy, but they could not be destroyed, only slowed, only delayed. To keep them from spreading, we placed ourselves into slumber, leaving behind warnings, hoping no others would awaken them until the galaxy was ready. Lyra's voice shook, and the signal, the one we detected, Kelith's glowing eyes dimmed. The signal was not meant for you. It was meant as a wall, a barrier to keep the curious away. But your kind, you tore through it with your machines. Your warp drive carried your scent into the dark, and now? The swarm knows where you are. The warning Carter's jaw clenched. You are saying we led them to Earth? Kelith's gaze cut through him like fire. Yes, even now, they turn their gaze toward your star. You have invited death to your home. The crew fell silent. Each of them felt the weight of Kelith's words. Maya muttered, her voice breaking. So what? We doomed our planet. Billions of people, just because we answered a signal. Kelith's voice echoed in their minds again. Curiosity is both your greatest strength and your greatest weakness. A choice Kelith extended an arm, light radiating from its crystalline hand. But there is hope. I carry within me the knowledge of weapons your kind cannot yet imagine. Technologies that could help defend your world, but knowledge comes with burden. To wield it, you must accept responsibility for the balance of all life in this galaxy. Jonas's eyes lit up, hunger burning in his gaze. Think about what this could mean. Unlimited energy. Ships faster than light. We could make Earth unstoppable. Kelith's eyes flared, its voice thundering inside their minds. Power without wisdom is destruction. Do not mistake salvation for conquest. Human conflict. The crew erupted into argument. Jonas paced furiously. We can't just sit back. If these swarm things are coming, we need to fight back with everything we've got. Why should we hold back when our survival is on the line? Lyra snapped back. Because this isn't just about survival, Jonas. It's about balance. If we misuse this technology, we could become just as dangerous as the swarm, Maya added bitterly. Or maybe we already are. Carter held up a hand, silencing them. His voice was firm, commanding. Enough. We didn't come here to argue over philosophy. We came for answers. And now we have them, Keleth. If we help protect this galaxy, will you help protect Earth? Keleth's glowing eyes softened, like distant starlight. Yes, but know this. Commander, your kind stands at the edge of a blade. One wrong step, and you fall into the same darkness you seek to fight. The crew left the chamber, their hearts heavy with what they had learned. The swarm was real, the danger was real, and Earth had already been marked. But in the shadows, another danger stirred, because not every member of the crew believed in Keleth's warning, and some saw opportunity, where others saw doom. The betrayal the crew returned to the Eclipse One, shaken by Keleth's revelations. The alien had given them knowledge of the Void Swarma, force capable of consuming entire star systems, and offered humanity a choice: defend the galaxy with wisdom, or risk unleashing destruction. But choices divide people, and in the silence of space, ambition can be louder than fear. Tension on the ship. Maya piloted the ship into a holding orbit, her knuckles white around the controls. This is madness. We should set course for Earth right now, warned the Alliance, and get the hell away from this cursed place. Lyra shook her head, scrolling through alien glyphs flickering across her screen. No. If we leave without fully understanding what Keleth offers us, Earth won't stand a chance. We need his knowledge, all of it. Jonas sat apart from them, silent. His eyes darted toward the glowing crystal shard Keleth had given them as a token of trust. In its refracted light, he saw not just survival, but power. Carter paced the deck, the weight of command heavy on his shoulders. We'll do both. We'll take what knowledge we can, but our priority is warning Earth. The swarm won't wait for us to argue. Jonas finally spoke, his tone sharp. Warning Earth is pointless if we can't defend it. You heard Keleth. This tech could make us unstoppable. Why waste time playing messengers when we could be building weapons? Carter's eyes narrowed. Because weapons without restraint will turn us into the very thing we're fighting. Jonas sneered, but said nothing more. Not yet. Secret transmission later. While the others rested, Jonas slipped away to the engineering bay. He activated a hidden transmitter, embedded in his toolkits, smuggled aboard by the Helios Corporation, a private conglomerate that had funded much of his career. He whispered into the device, "This is Jonas Cade, aboard Eclipse One. The rumors are true. We've made contact. Advanced technology alien, powerful, beyond anything you can imagine. I'll sense Helios will own the future." The transmitter blinked green. Message sent. Jonas allowed himself a small, satisfied smile. Sabotage the next day. As Keleth prepared to share more of his knowledge, Jonas put his plan into motion. While the others were busy decoding glyphs, he slipped into the chamber's central console and began extracting alien data into his portable drive. Suddenly, alarms blared through the structure. The walls pulsed with angry red light. Keleth's voice thundered through the chamber, shaking the walls. "What have you done?" The crystalline alien staggered, its body flickering as if in pain. Energy surged wildly through the chamber. Lyra spun around, eyes blazing. "Jonas, what did you touch?" Jonas clutched the drive, his voice defiant. "I did what had to be done. With this technology, we don't need to beg aliens for help. Earth can defend itself and rule the stars while we're at it." Carter lunged at him, grabbing his collar. "You selfish bastard. You've doomed us all." But it was too late. The alien structure groaned, its walls cracking under the strain. Collapse pods shattered around them, crystalline fragments raining down. Some of the sleepers stirred, their forms flickering weakly before going dark again. Drones screeched to life, swarming through the chamber. Keleth staggered, his form dimming. You have broken the seal. The prison weakens. The swarm will hear this. Carter shouted over the chaos. Everyone back to the ship. Now. They sprinted toward the docking ramp, fighting off drones that lashed out with beams of energy. Maya blasted too with her sidearm, sparks flying. Lyra dragged Carter after he was nearly struck by a collapsing tower of crystal. Jonas ran behind them, clutching his stolen drive. His greed was stronger than his fear. The crew dove into the Eclipse One as explosions ripped through the chamber. The ship roared to life, engines screaming as it tore free of the collapsing structure. Behind them, the alien constructs split apart, shards of light scattering into the void. Keleth's voice echoed in their minds one last time. You carry both hope and ruin. The choice will follow you home. Then silence. The Eclipse One fled into the black, scarred and shaken, but not all wounds heal. Jonas carried the alien data, a seed of betrayal that could bloom into humanity's greatest triumph for its final downfall, and deep in the dark. The void swarm stirred. The galaxy had noticed. The Eclipse One fled into the black, scarred and shaken. The galaxy had noticed. The final choice, the Eclipse One streaked through the darkness, the wreckage of the alien chamber shrinking behind them. The crew sat in silence, each lost in their own thoughts. The hum of the engines was the only sound steady, but heavy with dread. Earth was in danger. The void swarm was coming, and humanity's fate now rested on their fractured crew. Division. In the crew, Maya slammed her fist against the console. We're finished. We woke something we can't stop. Keleth is gone. The chamber's destroyed. What hope do we have now? Lyra shook her head. No, not gone. Keleth gave us knowledge. Enough to prepare. If we use it wisely, Earth can survive. Jonas scoffed, holding up the small drive that now carried alien schematic. Its glow reflected in his hungry eyes. Survive? No. With this, Earth doesn't just survive, we dominate. This tech is ours. We can end every war, control every system, and claim the stars. Carter's voice was sharp, cutting through the tension. That's not what Keleth wanted. That's not what we need. This isn't about control, it's about survival. If we turn this into a weapon, we're no better than the swarm. Jonas sneered. You're too blind to see it. History doesn't remember those who survive. It remembers those who rule. The confrontation. Jonas moved toward the bridge console, drive in hand, ready to upload the alien tech to their systems. Carter drew his sidearm, voice steady, but cold. Don't do it, Jonas. Put it down. The crew froze. The hum of the ship seemed to stop. Jonas stared back, defiant. You don't have the stomach for this, Commander. But I do. Earth will thank me when we're gods among the stars. For a long moment, no one moved. Then a single shot rang out. Jonas staggered, shock flashing across his face. The drive slipped from his hand, clattering to the floor. He collapsed, the hunger in his eyes fading into emptiness. The silence that followed was suffocating. Carter lowered the weapon, his face pale, his voice trembling. He made his choice, and I made mine. The final signal. Maya picked up the drive, her hands shaking. So what now? Do we use it, or destroy it? Carter looked out the viewport, at the endless void beyond. We can't destroy it. Earth needs every chance it can get. But we can't abuse it either. We'll take it back. Not for Helios. Not for conquest. For survival. Lyra placed a hand on the console, whispering almost to herself. Keleth said the choice would follow us home. He was right. Suddenly, a new signal crackled through their comslo, guttural, unlike anything human. The screens lit up with readings that made their blood run cold. Hundreds of signatures. Thousands. The void swarm had awakened. Carter's voice was steady, though his eyes betrayed the storm within him. Set a course for Earth. Maximum burn. If this is the beginning, then humanity has to be ready. The engines roared, and the Eclipse One hurled itself toward home. Narration, the ending, the stars stretched around them, silent witnesses to humanity's choices. They had gone in search of answers and found a truth darker than they could imagine. The swarm was coming, and Earth was unprepared, but the crew carried with them both the key to survival and the seeds of destruction. In the hands of the wise, humanity might stand a chance. In the hands of the reckless, the galaxy could burn. One signal had changed everything. One choice would decide the future, and as the Eclipse One vanished into the void, the question lingered, heavy and eternal: would humanity rise as guardians of the stars, or fall as conquerors into the same darkness they feared?